A tsunami of supersized American-style pickup trucks are hitting Melbourne roads as sales reach record levels. But some fed-up drivers say the vehicles have no place down under.
The automotive world just got hit with a bombshell. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares dropped the bomb. Ram trucks are done. Yes, you heard that right. The iconic American pickup brand is no more. And it gets worse. Thousands of workers are now jobless. But why? What's really going on behind the scenes? Here's the thing, this isn't just about trucks. It's about the end of an era. Ram has been a symbol of American muscle and power for decades. Now it's gone. Just like that, thousands of workers are packing up their tools and heading home, wondering what's next. But watch carefully, because there's more to this story than meets the eye. Why would Stellantis kill off one of its most popular brands? What could be so bad that they'd risk everything? The reasons might shock you, and trust me, once you hear them, you'll never look at the truck market the same way again. Ram's sales nosedive. You might think Ram was killed overnight, but the writing's been on the wall, the numbers don't lie, and they paint a grim picture. How bad? We're talking about a sales drop so massive it makes the 2008 crash look like a hiccup. Let's break it down. In the first half of 2024, Ram's sales took a nosedive. We're not talking about a small dip here. Ram sold 45,500 fewer trucks compared to the same period last year. That's a staggering 19.5% drop. To put it in perspective, imagine 1 out of every 5 Ram trucks you saw on the road last year just vanishing into thin air. But here's where it gets really interesting. While Ram was struggling, their competitors were thriving. Take Chevy, for example. They managed to outperform Ram by a mile, selling around 100,000 more units during the same time frame. That's not just a gap, it's a canyon. This isn't just a blip on the radar, it's a full-blown crisis. Carlos Tavares, the CEO of Stellantis, didn't mince words. He described the automotive market as being in turmoil, with every brand struggling. But let's be honest, some are struggling more than others, and Ram is at the bottom of the pile. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a brand new Ram truck on the road? Chances are it's been a while. That's because dealerships are sitting on a mountain of unsold inventory. 2023 models gathering dust. 2024 models rolling in with nowhere to go. It's a logistical nightmare that's been building for months. Stellantis tried everything to turn the ship around. They slashed prices, offered huge discounts, but nothing seemed to work. The customers just weren't biting. And in the cutthroat world of truck sales, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. Now, you might be wondering why this matters so much. After all, car brands come and go, right? Wrong. Ram isn't just any brand. It's a symbol of American manufacturing, a cornerstone of the truck market. Its failure sends ripples through the entire industry. But there's more to this story. The sales slump at Ram isn't just about trucks not selling. It's a symptom of deeper issues within Stellantis. Issues that have been brewing for a long time, hidden from public view, until now. Remember those thousands of workers who lost their jobs? They're the human cost of this crisis. Families left without income, communities losing a major employer. It's not just numbers on a spreadsheet, it's real people facing real consequences. So what does this mean for the future of the American truck market? With Ram out of the picture, who's going to fill the void? And more importantly, what does this say about the state of the automotive industry as a whole? The inventory nightmare. While everyone's focused on Ram's decline, something bizarre is happening at dealerships across the country. Rows upon rows of shiny new trucks sit untouched, gathering dust. But why aren't these trucks flying off the lots like they used to? The answer lies in a growing inventory nightmare that's sending shockwaves through the industry. Dealerships are drowning in a sea of unsold 2023 and 2024 Ram models. These lots look more like truck parking lots than showrooms. It's a sight that would make any car salesman break out in a cold sweat. But here's where things get really interesting. To combat this overflow, dealers are resorting to desperate measures. We're talking about massive discounts ranging from 12% to 20% off the manufacturer's suggested retail price. That's not just a small incentive, it's a full-blown fire sale. Think about it. When was the last time you saw discounts this big on brand new trucks? It's practically unheard of. These kinds of markdowns are usually reserved for end-of-year clearances or vehicles with major flaws. but these are brand new, top-of-the-line Ram trucks we're talking about. This isn't just a temporary hiccup or a minor setback. It's a clear sign that something is seriously wrong within Stellantis and the Ram brand. When a company starts slashing prices this dramatically, it's because they're in panic mode. The root of the problem? It looks like Stellantis seriously misjudged the market. Their pricing strategy was way off the mark. They aimed too high, thinking consumers would pay premium prices for their trucks. But in today's economy, with rising inflation and uncertain job markets, those sky-high price tags just aren't cutting it. Let's break it down. New Ram trucks can start around $70,000 and easily exceed $80,000 for higher-end models. That's a lot of money for the average truck buyer. And with economic pressures mounting, fewer people are willing or able to shell out that kind of cash. So now, Stellantis is caught between a rock and a hard place. They've got all these expensive trucks sitting on lots, and they need to move them fast. But by offering such steep discounts, they're sending a dangerous message to consumers. Our trucks aren't worth what we originally asked. This creates a vicious cycle. Buyers start to expect these massive discounts all the time, and once that happens, it's nearly impossible to go back to selling at full price. The brand loses its premium positioning, and profit margins shrink to nothing. But the inventory problem isn't just about Ram. It's a symptom of bigger issues plaguing the entire Stellantis group. We're talking about systemic problems that run deep within the company: poor market analysis, overly ambitious pricing strategies, and a disconnect from what consumers actually want and can afford. The question now is, how long can this go on? How many more trucks can they afford to sell at a loss before something has to give? It's a ticking time bomb, and the explosion could reshape the entire truck market as we know it. Reliability woes. As Ram trucks gather dust on dealer lots, a more insidious issue is eating away at the brand's core. The very heart of these powerful machines might actually be their Achilles heel. We're talking about a problem so severe it's shaking the foundation of Ram's reputation. And it all starts with a tiny sound that's causing big trouble. Picture this. You're cruising down the highway in your Ram 1500, feeling like the king of the road. Suddenly you hear it, a faint ticking sound coming from under the hood. No big deal, right? Wrong. That little tick could be the first sign of a major engine meltdown. We're talking about the infamous Hemi lifter tick. It's a problem that's been plaguing Ram trucks for years, and it's only getting worse. This isn't just a minor annoyance. If left unchecked, it can lead to serious engine damage. We're talking worn camshafts, blown engines, and repair bills that'll make your wallet cry. But here's the kicker. This problem typically shows up around the 70,000 mile mark. That's right when many owners start paying closer attention to their truck's performance. And let me tell you, they're not liking what they're hearing. The repair costs, they're not pretty. We're talking thousands of dollars to fix this issue. Some owners have tried using higher quality oil as a band-aid solution, but it's like trying to stop a flood with a paper towel. It might buy you some time, but it won't solve the underlying problem. And if you think the lifter tick is bad, wait till you hear about the manifold bolt fiasco. Numerous Ram owners have reported dealing with broken or warped manifold bolts. This isn't just a cosmetic issue. We're talking about exhaust leaks that can seriously mess with your truck's performance and fuel efficiency. Fixing these manifold problems, it's not a quick or cheap fix. We're talking about labor-intensive work that'll have you digging deep into your pockets. It's the kind of repair that makes you question whether owning a Ram is worth the headache. But wait, there's more. In 2024, Ram faced a slew of recalls. The 2023 Ram 1500, 2500, and 3500 models were hit with a recall due to flawed welding in the transmission control unit. This defect could lead to transmission fluid leaking onto electrical components. And you know what that means? You could lose drive power, or even worse, your truck might not shift into park. These aren't just isolated incidents. We're talking about systemic problems that are eroding consumer confidence in the Ram brand. Think about it. Would you want to spend your hard-earned money on a truck that might leave you stranded on the side of the road? The impact of these reliability issues goes far beyond just inconveniencing a few owners. It's creating a ripple effect throughout the entire Ram lineup. Potential buyers are getting scared off. They're hearing these horror stories and thinking twice before signing on the dotted line for a new Ram truck. And let's be real, in today's competitive truck market, reputation is everything. Once you lose the trust of truck buyers, it's a long uphill battle to win it back. Ram's competitors aren't sitting idle. They're capitalizing on these missteps, positioning their trucks as more reliable alternatives. The combination of these reliability woes, the inventory crisis we talked about earlier, and the overall sales slump is creating a perfect storm for Ram. It's a crisis that's threatening to sink the entire brand. Stellantis financial crunch. While reliability issues were gnawing at Ram's reputation, a financial storm was brewing at Stellantis. Hold on to your steering wheels because Stellantis just hit the financial equivalent of black ice. We're talking a sales nosedive that would make even the most daring stunt driver nervous. But here's the real head scratcher. As the company skidded towards trouble, some people at the top were busy padding their wallets. It's a money mystery that might explain why Ram's future is suddenly up in the air. Let's break down the numbers, and they're not pretty. Stellantis reported a staggering 21% drop in overall vehicle sales compared to the previous year. That's not just a dip, it's a cliff dive. Imagine 1 out of every 5 cars they sold last year just vanishing into thin air. That's the kind of loss we're talking about. Now, you'd think with sales tanking like that, everyone at Stellantis would be tightening their belts, right? Wrong. Here's where things get wild. While the company was hemorrhaging money, Stellantis executives saw their compensation balloon by 56%. You read that right, a 56% pay bump while the ship was sinking. This isn't just about fat cats getting fatter. It's about a company making choices that left people scratching their heads. How do you justify giving top brass a raise when your sales are in freefall? It's like rewarding the captain for steering the ship into an iceberg. The contrast between struggling workers and well-paid executives didn't go unnoticed. Union President Shawn Fain didn't mince words. He said, if any rank-and-file worker demonstrated the same level of incompetence as Tavares, they'd be out on their ears quickly. Ouch. That's not just criticism, that's a full-on roast of Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares. But Fain's words hit on something important. There's a growing divide between the people at the top and the workers on the factory floor. And that divide, it's causing some serious tension within Stellantis. So what's a company to do when it's bleeding money but still handing out raises to the big wigs? Cut costs, of course. Stellantis announced a plan to slash expenses by a whopping 30%. Sounds good on paper, right? But here's the catch. Most of those cuts are coming from job losses. That's right, while executives were getting richer, regular workers were getting pink slips. It's a move that's left a bitter taste in many mouths. After all, it's not the executives assembling those Ram trucks on the factory floor. But there's more to this story than just short-term cost cutting. Stellantis is playing a long game here, and it's one that might not have room for Ram trucks. The company is pivoting towards electric vehicles, and that shift is shaking things up across the board. This move towards EVs isn't just about following trends, it's about survival in an industry that's changing faster than a traffic light. But here's the thing, retooling factories and retraining workers for EV production isn't cheap, and with sales down, Stellantis is feeling the squeeze. So where does this leave Ram? Caught in the middle of a perfect storm. You've got plummeting sales, rising executive pay, angry workers, and a costly shift towards electric vehicles. Something had to give, and it looks like Ram drew the short straw. But let's not forget, this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about real people losing real jobs. It's about communities built around Ram factories facing an uncertain future. And it's about the end of an iconic American brand that's been part of our roads and our lives for decades. Union unrest and worker woes. Those factory workers aren't taking this lying down. What if the real story behind Ram's demise was unfolding right on the factory floor? A storm is brewing, and it's not just about lost jobs. It's about a battle for the soul of American manufacturing. The tension at Stellantis has reached a boiling point, and it's not hard to see why. Union President Shawn Fain didn't mince words when he called out CEO Carlos Tavares. He said, if any rank-and-file worker demonstrated the same level of incompetence as Tavares, they'd be out on their ears quickly. That's not just criticism, it's a full-on assault on leadership. But why are workers so fired up? It's simple. They're fighting for their livelihoods. The union's demands are clear: job security, better pay, and improved working conditions. And they're not just thinking about themselves, they're looking out for the new hires too, who often start with lower wages than their predecessors. It's a fight for fairness in an industry that's changing faster than ever. This labor unrest isn't happening in a vacuum. It's adding to the mountain of challenges Stellantis was already facing. Think about it. You've got plummeting sales, reliability issues, and now you've got angry workers ready to walk off the job. It's like trying to steer a ship through a perfect storm. And here's where things get really interesting. This union pushback might have played a bigger role in Ram's downfall than anyone's letting on. When you've got got workers threatening to strike, it throws a wrench into everything. Production slows down, costs go up, and suddenly keeping a brand like Ram alive starts looking a lot less attractive to the higher-ups. But there's more to this story than just angry workers. It's about a fundamental shift in the automotive industry. Stellantis is betting big on electric vehicles, and that bet comes with a price tag. Retooling factories and retraining workers for EV production isn't cheap, and when you're facing union demands for higher wages and better benefits, something's gotta give. So where does this leave Ram, caught in the crossfire? On one side, you've got executives trying to cut costs and pivot to electric. On the other, you've got workers fighting for their jobs and their future. And Ram? It's the casualty in this high-stakes battle, but don't think for a second that the workers are backing down. Fain's words aren't just hot air. He's talking about filing formal grievances if their demands aren't met, and he's not stopping there. There's talk of organized strikes that could bring Stellantis production to a screeching halt. This isn't just about Ram anymore. It's about the future of American manufacturing. It's about whether companies can balance the needs of workers with the demands of a changing market. And right now, Stellantis is failing that balancing act. The atmosphere in the factories is electric, and not in a good way. Workers are skeptical about their leaders' commitment to protecting their interests. There's talk of new leadership, of shaking things up from the ground up. It's a powder keg waiting to explode. And here's the kicker. This isn't just a Stellantis problem. The entire automotive industry is feeling the heat. Similar tensions are bubbling up at Ford and GM. It's like the whole industry is on the brink of a massive shakeup. So, what does all this mean for Ram? Well, it might just be the final nail in the coffin. With all these pressures mounting, keeping Ram alive probably looked like more trouble than it was worth to Stellantis. But make no mistake, this decision isn't just about trucks. It's about the future of an entire workforce, an entire industry. The layoff domino effect. The end of Ram Trucks isn't just about losing a brand, it's about losing livelihoods, dreams, and entire communities. But here's the kicker, those 2,500 layoffs, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real story is what happens next, and it's not pretty. Stellantis just dropped a bombshell on the Warren Truck Assembly plant. They're letting go of 2,500 factory workers as they wind down production of the Ram 1500 Classic. But don't think this is where it ends. It's only the beginning of a much larger crisis. Fast forward to July 2024, Stellantis shocked everyone again. This time they announced temporary layoffs affecting over 4,000 workers at the same plant. About 1,600 workers lost their jobs immediately when the second shift got axed. It's like watching dominoes fall in slow motion. But why is Stellantis doing this? They're targeting a 30% reduction in costs, and unfortunately most of that is coming from job cuts. It's creating widespread panic among employees. Nobody knows if they'll still have a job tomorrow. Now, you might be thinking, it's just one company, right? Wrong. This is bigger than Stellantis. These layoffs are creating a ripple effect that's tearing through local communities. Think about it. When factory workers lose their jobs, they stop spending money. Local businesses that rely on these workers start hurting too. Imagine your favorite local cafe or shop. They depend on customers with steady incomes. But when those incomes disappear, so does their business. And guess what happens next? More layoffs. It's a vicious cycle that keeps getting worse. This is what economists call the multiplier effect. One job loss leads to another and another. Before you know it, entire communities are struggling to stay afloat. It's like watching a house of cards collapse in slow motion. And it gets even worse. As more families lose their main source of income, they turn to local resources for help. Food banks, social services, they all get overwhelmed. These support systems are already stretched thin, and now they're at risk of collapse too. Shawn Fain, the union president, didn't mince words about these layoffs. He called them a disgrace. And can you blame him? Workers are getting more frustrated by the day. They're starting to demand new leadership, someone who'll fight for their rights and job security. But here's where things get really interesting. This isn't just a Stellantis problem. The entire auto industry is feeling the heat. Similar tensions are bubbling up at Ford and GM. It's like the whole industry is on the brink of a massive shakeup. So, what does all this mean for the future of American manufacturing? Well, it's not looking good. We're talking about the potential loss of thousands more jobs across the industry, and each of those job losses represents a family facing an uncertain future. Think about the long-term impact on these communities. When major employers like Stellantis pull out or drastically reduce their workforce, it's not just the workers who suffer. Property values can plummet, schools lose funding, the very fabric of these towns starts to unravel, and let's not forget about the skills gap this creates. These workers have specialized skills in auto manufacturing. If those jobs disappear, where do they go? Retraining takes time and money, resources that many laid-off workers simply don't have. The last hurrah, Ram's final edition. While workers face an uncertain future, Ram's cooking up something wild behind the scenes. What if I told you their last truck wasn't just a goodbye, but a middle finger to the entire industry? They're about to unleash a beast that'll rewrite the rules of what a pickup can be. Stellantis just dropped a bombshell that's got the automotive world buzzing. They're launching a limited edition Ram 1500 that's so exclusive it makes other trucks look like toys. We're talking about a price tag of $249,950. That's not a typo. This truck costs more than most houses. But here's the real kicker. They're only making 4,000 of these beasts. That's it. Once they're gone forever. It's like Stellantis is saying, if we're going out with a bang. So what do you get for $250,000? Let's start with the heart of this monster. Under the hood, you'll find a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8 engine. This thing pumps out 702 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. That's not just power, that's enough muscle to tow a small planet. But it's not just about raw power. This truck is fast, really fast. We're talking 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.5 seconds. It'll do a quarter mile in 12.9 seconds. That's supercar territory, folks, in a truck. And Stellantis didn't skimp on the looks either. This final edition comes with satin titanium beadlock wheels and unique TRX badging. It's like they took everything cool about trucks and cranked it up to 11. Now, you might be wondering why Stellantis is doing this. Why launch such an over-the-top truck when the brand is on its last legs? It's simple. They're trying to cash in on Ram's reputation one last time. Think about it. Ram has always been known for its tough, powerful trucks. This limited edition is like a greatest hits album. It's taking everything people loved about Ram and dialing it up to the max. But there's more to this strategy than just going out with a bang. Stellantis is calling this truck a collector's item. They're banking on truck enthusiasts and collectors shelling out big bucks for a piece of automotive history. It's a smart move, really. Even if they don't sell all 4,000 units, the buzz around this truck could boost Ram's image. It's like a final reminder of what Ram was capable of at its peak. But let's not forget the context here. This final edition is launching at a time when Ram's regular sales are in the gutter. Remember that 19.5% drop in sales we talked about earlier? This limited edition isn't going to fix that. So what does this mean for the future of Ram? Well, it's complicated. On one hand, this final edition shows that there's still some fight left in the brand. They're not just rolling over and dying. On the other hand, it feels a bit like a last gasp. It's as if Stellantis is saying, we can't compete in the regular truck market anymore, so we're going after the ultra luxury segment. And let's be real, who's gonna buy these trucks? At $250,000 a pop, we're not talking about your average pickup buyer. This is for the ultra wealthy, the collectors, the people who see trucks as status symbols rather than work vehicles. It's a far cry from Ram's roots as the working man's truck. In a way, this final edition represents everything that's gone wrong with the brand. They've lost touch with their core market, pushing prices higher and higher until they've priced themselves right out of the game. The looming strike threat. As Stellantis aims for the stars with its $250,000 truck, the ground beneath their feet is crumbling. The union's patience has run out, and they're about to show Stellantis what real power looks like. Are we witnessing the final days of an automotive giant? The atmosphere within the United Auto Workers Union is reaching a boiling point. Behind closed doors, discussions reflect significant discontent among workers. It's not just about the layoffs or the end of Ram. It's about a workforce that feels betrayed and undervalued. Workers are questioning whether their union leaders are truly supporting their interests. There's a growing call for new leadership within the UAW. The rank and file want someone who will fight tooth and nail for their rights, not just accept whatever scraps Stellantis throws their way. Union President Shawn Fain isn't taking this lying down. His rhetoric has become a powerful call to action, emphasizing the importance of solidarity among union members. His message is clear: don't back down, stand together, and be ready to fight for what's right. The union's top demand: job security. With Stellantis slashing jobs left and right, workers want guarantees that they'll still have a paycheck to take home. The message to Stellantis is loud and clear: prioritize retaining jobs over executive compensation. But it's not just just about keeping jobs. The UAW is pushing for the revival of benefits that have eroded over time. They're fighting for better pay and improved working conditions for all employees, especially new hires who often start at lower wages than their predecessors. Here's where things get really intense. The UAW isn't just talking tough. They're prepared to take significant action, including a fully organized strike against Stellantis. We're talking about a strike that could halt production across all facilities. It's a nuclear option, but one that workers seem increasingly willing to use. This isn't just idle speculation. The potential for a strike is very real, especially when you consider the recent history of labor actions in the auto industry. Remember the 2023 UAW strike? It involved simultaneous actions against all three major US automakers and lasted a whopping 46 days. That 2023 strike had a massive impact on vehicle production. It showed just how much power the union wields in the automotive industry. And now, workers are ready to flex those muscles again if Stellantis doesn't address their concerns. The growing sentiment among workers is clear. If Stellantis doesn't shape up, they're ready to shut it down. We're talking about the potential for widespread disruption that could make the 2023 strike look like a warm-up act. But here's the thing, this isn't just about Stellantis or Ram. The entire auto industry is watching this unfold with bated breath. If the UAW strikes against Stellantis, it could set off a chain reaction across the sector. Other automakers might face similar demands from their workers, leading to a domino effect of labor actions. For Stellantis, the timing couldn't be worse. They're already struggling with plummeting sales, reliability issues, and the costly transition to electric vehicles. A prolonged strike could be the final nail in the coffin for not just Ram, but potentially the entire company. The next few weeks are crucial. Negotiations between Stellantis and the UAW are ongoing, but the clock is ticking. Workers are growing more restless by the day, and their patience is wearing thin. If a deal isn't reached soon, we could see picket lines forming outside Stellantis factories across the country. The impact of such a strike would be felt far beyond just the auto industry. We're talking about potential ripple effects through the entire economy. Suppliers would be hit hard. Local businesses near Stellantis plants would suffer, and it could even impact national economic indicators. Market ripple effects. As Ram's troubles send shockwaves through the economy, a seismic shift is brewing in the truck market. Who's ready to fill the void? Ford and Chevy are revving their engines, but they're not the only ones eyeing Ram's piece of the pie. The fall of Ram isn't just a loss for Stellantis, it's a golden opportunity for competitors to swoop in and claim a bigger slice of the truck market pie. And let me tell you, they're not wasting any time. Ford and Chevy are the obvious contenders here. They've been duking it out with Ram for years, and now they're seeing a chance to knock out a major competitor. Ford's F-Series has always been a top seller, and with Ram out of the picture, they could solidify their position as the undisputed king of trucks. But Chevy's not far behind. They've been outperforming Ram significantly, selling around 100,000 more units in recent months. This could be their chance to close the gap with Ford and maybe even overtake them. Think about it. All those loyal Ram customers, they need to go somewhere, and Ford and Chevy are rolling out the red carpet. We're talking aggressive marketing campaigns, special deals, and maybe even some new models designed to appeal to former Ram owners. But here's where things get interesting. It's not just the big American brands that are circling. Toyota and Nissan are probably seeing this as their chance to grab a bigger piece of the American truck market. They've always been underdogs in this segment, but with Ram gone, the field's wide open. And don't count out newcomers like Rivian or Tesla. They've been trying to break into the truck market with their electric offerings. Ram's exit could be just the opening they need to make a real impact. So what does all this mean for the average truck buyer? Well, in the short term, we might see some pretty sweet deals. With companies fighting to win over former Ram customers, there could be some serious discounts and incentives flying around. But long term, that's where things get tricky. With less competition, there's a risk that prices could start creeping up. And with Ram's more budget-friendly options off the table, we might see a shift towards higher-end, more expensive trucks dominating the market. There's also the question of innovation. Ram was known for pushing the envelope with features like their coil spring rear suspension and the Rambox storage system. Without them in the mix, will other manufacturers still feel the pressure to innovate? On the flip side, this could be the push that drives more investment in electric trucks. With one less traditional player in the game, companies might decide to go all in on electric to differentiate themselves. We're also likely to see a shakeup in the mid-sized truck segment. Remember, Ram was planning to revive the Dakota and launch the Rampage in Brazil. With those plans likely scrapped, other other manufacturers might see an opportunity to fill that gap. But let's not forget about the workers and communities affected by Ram's demise. Other manufacturers might see an opportunity to scoop up skilled labor, potentially setting up new factories in areas hit hard by Ram's exit. The ripple effects of Ram's troubles aren't just confined to the auto industry either. Think about all the suppliers, the aftermarket parts manufacturers, the customization shops that specialized in Ram trucks. They're all gonna feel the pinch. And what about the used truck market? With no new Rams rolling off the production line, we might see the value of used Rams skyrocket. They could become collector's items overnight. The uncertain future. Just when you thought the Ram story was over, there's a plot twist coming. What if this so-called end is actually a clever smokescreen for something much bigger? The future of Ram might be more alive than we think, and it could change everything we know about trucks. Let's be real for a second. The automotive industry is no stranger to surprises, and Stellantis might have a few tricks up its sleeve. Sure, things look bleak for Ram right now, but what if this is all part of a bigger plan? Think about it. Stellantis is a massive company with deep pockets and even deeper industry connections. They're not just gonna roll over and let Ram die without a fight. There's too much at stake, too much history, and too much potential profit to simply walk away. So what could be going on behind the scenes? One possibility is a complete reinvention of the Ram brand. We're talking about a total overhaul, not just a facelift. Imagine Ram coming back as an all-electric truck brand, ready to take on the likes of Rivian and Tesla at their own game. This isn't just wild speculation. Stellantis has been making big moves in the electric vehicle space. They've committed to investing billions in EV technology over the next few years. What if a chunk of that investment is earmarked for a new and improved Ram? But here's where things get really interesting. What if Stellantis is planning to spin off Ram as its own company? It wouldn't be the first time an automotive giant has done something like this. Remember when Ford spun off its heavy truck division? That became Freightliner, which is now a major player in the commercial truck market. A standalone Ram could be leaner, more agile, and better equipped to compete in today's fast-changing market. It could focus solely on trucks, without having to worry about supporting a whole range of other vehicles. Of course, there's always the possibility that another company could swoop in and buy Ram. Chinese automakers have been looking for ways to break into the US market for years. Acquiring an established American brand like Ram could be their golden ticket. But let's not forget about the workers and communities affected by all this uncertainty. Any revival of Ram would need to address the concerns of those who've lost their jobs. It's not just about bringing back a brand, it's about restoring livelihoods. And what about the loyal Ram customers? They're not just going to disappear overnight. There's still a huge market for Ram trucks, both new and used. Any plan for Ram's future would need to take these die-hard fans into account. The ripple effects of Ram's uncertain future extend far beyond just Stellantis. Other automakers are watching closely, ready to pounce on any opportunity. Ford and Chevy might be rubbing their hands together at the thought of grabbing Ram's market share, but they should be careful. A resurrected Ram could come back stronger than ever. This situation also raises bigger questions about the future of the American auto industry. As we move towards electric vehicles and new forms of mobility, what will happen to traditional truck brands? Will they adapt and survive, or go the way of the dinosaur? For consumers, all this uncertainty means one thing: keep your eyes open. The truck market is about to get very interesting. Whether you're in the market for a new pickup or just curious about the industry, the next few months could bring some big surprises. Final thoughts. Ram's downfall wasn't just one thing, it was a perfect storm of problems. Sales took a nosedive, dealerships were drowning in unsold trucks, and reliability issues scared off buyers. But that's not all. The whole auto industry is changing fast, and Ram got caught in the middle. Here's the real kicker. All these problems were connected. Bad sales led to job cuts, which made workers angry. Angry workers threatened strikes, which scared off even more customers. It's like a vicious cycle that just kept getting worse. So what's next for American truck makers? With Ram gone, Ford and Chevy are probably feeling pretty good right now, but they shouldn't get too comfortable. The truck market is changing fast. Electric pickups are coming and new players are entering the game. Will the old giants adapt, or are we watching the end of an era?